Hey everybody, James here. I owe you a bunch of information. So, I really just wanted to do kind of an all-encompassing update that'll cover Tidal Blades 2, Wonderland's War, state of shipping, pledge managers, Bloodstone, new things that are going on, just kind of a general update across the board. And I'm going to keep everything pretty quick, so just to kind of get you a quick update, and then we got to get back to work. So let's start with Tidal Blades 2. Tidal Blades 2, development is almost wrapping up. We're getting close to the end. Right now we're working on the final couple scenarios. And, this is a much bigger project than we've ever done because of the nature of the project, how it's, scenario and building on top of itself. It requires a bit more testing than like, say, a closed loop game, right? Where, say, Wonderland's War, you have a closed loop game, you test things, you make a change, you test it overall, what is the impact over the game in this closed loop. A little easier to test. Whereas if you make an adjustment to a scenario and you're like, well, depending on the output of that scenario, like what does that do for the players, and does it add cards, and do those cards, what is the power structure of the cards output for future scenarios? It gets complicated. And so that's taken a little bit longer to play test than we had anticipated. So a little behind schedule there, but nothing I'm too worried about at this moment. I just wanted to give you an update that the end is in sight, which then once all the dev's done and the files are good, then we really get to kind of put our foot on the gas for production and moving forward. I will say the thing that I think I can see now, not necessarily being an issue, but taking longer than I thought, would be testing the physical prototype. We're going to need several groups to run through that completely just to make sure there's no issues. Because the very last thing I want to do is send you a game and then there be a physical issue with one of the components, one of the cards, something that didn't get caught. And it could still happen because, again, in a closed loop game, you could typically test every single card or every single mechanic, every single bit of that game. In a choose your own adventure type of thing, some stuff may not get used, but then in some cases it might. Well, there might have been an issue on a card on a run through that we didn't see in playtesting because they didn't even touch that card, right? So that's why we need multiple groups to run through it with the physical components to make sure there's no issues. Because the last thing you want, I have a Kickstarter on my shelf. I don't want to name the company because that's not important, but it is a campaign game, and it took them a long time to get that game to everybody. And then when we got it, it was littered with issues, and they're having to print errata packs and make those and ship them out. I will not, cannot, won't do that, right? It's not saying that we won't fix something's wrong. I'm just saying I want to put the work in on the front end so that once this thing hits your table, it is a beautiful experience all the way through. People have been asking about production and minis, and so the mini process is underway. I have some resin samples that are actually on their way to me. Once I have those, I will take pictures and share those in an update. Once that stuff gets locked, then they'll make some samples, and then we can work on showing you guys what the washes were going to look like. I know a lot of other people have asked about like the insert mold or the insert when we get samples of that. So there's just it's all a big domino effect. And once files are locked and I can give things to the team over at Folded Space, I got to meet with the whole team at PAX Unplugged. They were there. It was really awesome to meet them. Everybody's very excited to dive in. So, we're not too far away from being able to give them files where they can make an actual render for us of what ours will specifically look like with all the images and all the icons and things on it. So all that stuff's coming. It's a domino effect. Things obviously slowed down during the holidays, but now we're back to it, full blast. So we're going. We do have the Lunar New Year coming up. So all of our partners, so some things with production and getting feedback from our manufacturer will slow down, obviously, for the month of like the end of January through most of February. But that shouldn't affect too much as we're still finishing up some things on our end. All right, Wonderland's War. Let's talk about that and the expansion. So everything's over the holidays. The design team got everything locked. Everything is, all the fantastic feedback from playtesters. Thank you so much. The Discord channel has been amazing for running playtests and submitting feedback and those sort of things. So everything's locked in now. We are finalizing like those files and then finalizing the rulebook. I will be posting some of those files over to the Discord channel in the Wonderland's War channel. So people can take a look and help us proof, catch any errors, anything like that. And then one of the big things there, we'll hand over those files over to all of those translation partners that we have, and they'll start their job of translating the game. Then we'll all work together as we get ready to launch into production. Right now, obviously, it looks like that will be after the Lunar New Year. We were hoping to be able to get at least part of that started before. But I'd rather everything be good, no errors. We've double checked everything, than try to rush it to meet a deadline, and then there be issues after, right? Because that's no fun at all. So, we're not far though, and getting to this point, it feels good to be able to go, cool, files are finalized, all the playtesting's locked in, we're good to go. So let's talk Pledgemanager and shipping. So I am currently working with a new potential partner with generally more capabilities and I want to say better rates. The rates are somewhat better. It obviously depends on the region. Some regions the rates are slightly better. Some are not slightly better. It just really depends on the region. But I do believe this partner is going to help us move things more quickly. So I'm hoping that on that part, once we are ready to put stuff on a boat, like we can shrink down the costs and the timeline of that. So very excited about getting that locked in. Should have that in the next couple weeks. My goal is to have that probably in 2 weeks, that we can 2 to 3 weeks, I think, because I also now got to get them talking to Pledgemanager so we can get everything locked into the Pledgemanager, because everything's based on a weight table, right? So everything that you see on the campaign page is an estimate based on a specific pledge tier, right? Because at that time we had a weight for that pledge. Anything that you've added on, any add-ons at all, and this goes for Tidal Blades 2 and for Wonderland's War. Anything that you've added on adds weight. And so what the table does, obviously, is it just takes the total weight of every item that you've decided you wanted and puts it into a single package and says it'll be X amount to ship that to X area. So that takes a little bit of work and then a lot of testing to make sure it's right, because, again, the last thing you want is for me to say, hey, the Pledgemanager's open, go get it. And then you get in there and it's wonky or weird, or the price is nowhere near what it's supposed to be, that sort of thing. So we have to do a lot of testing to make sure everything was entered correctly. But I'm really, really excited about having this part done, obviously, so that you guys can get in there and see your totals. But I think in most areas, you're going to see some slight improvements, especially on Wonderland's War. That campaign has more leeway with just the way all the particulars fell into place. Tidal Blades 2, not as much. It'll probably look very similar to what you were quoted. But at the end of the day, those are estimates. And I think we're either going to be at our estimate on what we said it would cost to ship. Maybe slightly more, depending on the areas. But I don't think anyone's going to see any sort of red flags of like, this went up $30, this went up 20%. I don't think you're going to see any of that. I think in some cases you might even see a slight decrease, depending on what you've put in your Pledgemanager and your region. But overall, like, doing the very best I can. I interviewed several different partners. Our friends in Canada, I'm very sorry, for the expansion pricing, but like every partner came back with very similar costs. I know you guys are like throwing your hands in there saying, how can it cost $25 to ship something so small? I asked them all the same thing, and they all came back with, that's what it costs to ship stuff in Canada. So don't have any answers. I can't eat that. I understand if that doesn't work for you, but it is what it is. That's the world we live in. I do know that there's a lot of duties that happen. That's a fun word, duty. So maybe start yelling at your government about some of the fees that they apply when things come over the border to be shipped in. I know. I'm upset with my government on lots of things too, and I can yell at them all day long. That doesn't help anything. I'm just saying there's nothing that I can do about it. I've tried. So I will keep asking that question. I will keep pushing all of my partners, and if somebody ever comes up with that solution, I'll be sharing it. All right, quickly, Bloodstone. Bloodstone is still, I'm finishing up some development there. I've got a little bit of movement there. I don't really know when I'm going to launch that. I'll be honest. I really want to focus on Tidal Blades 2 and Wonderland's War, getting those things where they need to be to get into production. And that is the priority, right? I have to get those things to you guys. You're owed those things, and I don't want to fall into the trap of working on a new project that's coming down the line, and then that part, the foot on the gas for these other two projects slows down. And that's happened in the past, and I don't want that to happen now. And so that's kind of my caution there. And maybe I'm being too cautious, but also I'm just one person, right? Sure, I work with freelancers that help me do things, but at the end of the day, it's just me making sure things keep moving forward. And I don't want to spin too many plates and then let you guys down. So I know there's a lot of like, why hasn't this come back out yet? And I get it. Trust me, it's my baby. I want you to play this game. But also, I think the world is obviously also changing around us a bit too with what people are willing to pay or what they want for a game. And I'm even looking at ways to reduce the footprint of Bloodstone to try to get the price down as low as possible while still holding on to the vision that I have for the game. I think I'm in a weird place, right? Because you guys know me for making really high-end, component-heavy, deluxe experiences. And I love making those. But we're all squeezed really hard right now from inflation across the globe. This isn't just an American, U.S. thing. It's across the globe. Taxes and VAT fees and shipping's still really high. Like, all of these things make our purchases very expensive. And then in addition to that, all of, as you can see behind me, I'm out of shelf space. I've got a bunch of games in the floor. We're all running out of shelf space. So bigger, like, I'm at a weird crossroads, right? Of like my big old games, the cost that they incur, and then trying to figure out what is an appropriate place to fall. And, I think right now for Bloodstone, I think there's ways to reduce its footprint, still deliver a beautiful, high-quality game, but maybe it does have a much smaller footprint than I initially visualized. And I'm going through some of those exercises now because it takes a lot of back and forth. Well, what if we change this to this? Or what if the box is different like this? What if we package it differently like this? I think that's the due diligence that I have to do as a publisher, and then try to figure out, what does that look like? And, while not disappointing you guys, and no matter what I choose, obviously there's going to be some people who are disappointed. So, I think I'll be able to offer something that is a smaller footprint, easier, more digestible, smaller price point. And then maybe I'll still come back with some sort of like all-in-one deluxe box, big old chunky donkey. And then you guys can just pick whichever you need. It fits your budget and your tastes. So anyway, there's a lot to consider there. Two more quick things, and then I'm out. I told you I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. I'm already approaching 15 minutes. I do have a potential new project that I am looking at. I'm very excited about. It's not designed by anybody that I've worked with before. And it's a complicated. Anyway, I don't want to. Nothing signed, but I'm very excited about if we're able to make this work. It's an incredible game. An incredible game. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. So that's the kind of stuff that gets me very excited. So anyway, I'll let you know more about that when I can. And then last little thing is I do have some help coming. We're not ready to announce it yet, but I am adding a project manager to the team, and she's amazing, great energy, lovely person. Can't wait for her to come on board and help me take some tasks off of me. But there will obviously be an onboarding process, so it's not going to instantly just change everything. But I am really, really excited about having some help, and hopefully that translates to everything just moving quicker. So, all right, that's what I got for today. Wanted to just kind of give you guys that state of the union update, and I know you'll have more questions, but just super excited to keep plowing through 2023 and getting you guys these 2 games because they're amazing. The expansion is amazing. Tidal Blades 2 is amazing. I think, Tidal Blades 2 could be one of the best games we've ever made. I think that experience is just going to, when people play through that, they're just going to be absolutely just floored. They're just going to be floored. So, all right. I appreciate y'all. Talk to you soon.